Hello everyone, I'm George from Ireland, so welcome back to my channel once more. So just commenting on the news from yesterday, which was quite a shocker, that His Royal Highness Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, has reached an out-of-court settlement with his accuser, Miss Virginia Giuffre. I hope I pronounced her name correctly. That American woman who's now living in the United States, who claimed that when she was 17, she had intercourse with him in 3 different jurisdictions. I believe it was New York, the Florida, and the United Kingdom. Was it the Virgin Islands? Am I wrong about Florida? Anyway, so Prince Andrew has vehemently denied that he ever did this with her, and he says he doesn't recall even meeting her, which doesn't rule out the fact that the possibility that he did meet her, only he may have forgotten. And he was 41 when these incidents allegedly transpired. So she has been talking about this in the media for years. In 2019, he thought the complainant's story was not going to go away. His policy of not speaking directly about it, just releasing statements through his lawyers, through his PR team, was not working, and that's why he gave that cataclysmic interview to Emily Maitlis on the BBC, really fueling the flames. Anyway, so a civil suit was started in New York by her, and initially he desperately strove to squirm his way out of it. He's saying he couldn't receive the legal papers, so therefore Miss Giuffre's lawyers, they sent them to various addresses in the United Kingdom and to his lawyers in the United States. So there's just no way he could claim they didn't get to him, to the British Embassy and things like that. Now his legal team tried to deploy another stratagem, claiming that as she's resident in Australia, she's no locus standi in New York, but this one was thrown out of court. So she was going to get a jury trial for a civil case. In the United States, I believe they quite commonly use juries in civil cases, whereas in England and Wales, they almost never do, only for certain defamation cases. So then it was clear that there was going to be a civil trial. I'm not sure that his presence would be required. This was not a criminal case, so they weren't trying to extradite him. But could they not go for a criminal case? Why didn't they? Did they think the evidence was so feeble? And one of the great unanswered questions is, how come the police in the United Kingdom have not even questioned him? Because since at least 1998, the police in the UK have been able to question suspects, even if there's been no complaint as such, even if the alleged victim has not even gone to the police. The police have heard something, they can question someone, and they haven't brought Prince Andrew in for an interview. Now, maybe there's no case to answer, but they haven't even looked into it. Surely there's a prima facie case. And then Prince Andrew, when it's clear that it was going to be a civil trial, with or without him being there in the court, he could have just sent affidavits or something. I'm not quite sure how it works in New York. Then he said he demanded to have a jury trial. He really wanted one. Well, you were going to get one anyway. So why was he upping the ante, demanding to get the thing that he was going to get anyway? This heightened belligerence was supposedly part of the legal strategy. Say, all right, prove that we're going to fight it and make it difficult for them, raise the costs, it'll be more expensive, it will drag on. And so therefore they're more likely to settle. Well, that's obviously paid dividends because they have settled. I didn't see this one coming because Virginia Giuffre said that she wanted validation, as in the court to say, yes, her claims are substantially true. Remember, this being a civil case, it would only have to be proved on the balance of probabilities, as in, if what she was saying is more likely to be true than what he's saying, she wins. Obviously, if what he is saying was more likely to be true than what she's saying, then he wins. But it was very hard for me to see the prince winning this one. And was he dim enough to think that he'd go down well with an American jury who may well see this as like the American Revolution all over again, to take the side of their innocent American girl against this brutal British arrogant prince or something like that, a George III figure all over again. And he doesn't help himself. He's so often his own worst enemy because he's such a dimwit. Think that they would just be wowed by the glitter of royalty, whereas I think it's a rather sardonic town. I don't think they'd be terribly impressed by him. So he's too conceited to follow expert advice, which is why he disregarded what his PR team, and he went full steam ahead with that calamitous interview he granted to BBC in November 2019. He's got it wrong time and time again. I mean, I would not mind getting money from someone I didn't see, all a bit weird, say the face of the crown. So anyway, so as part of this settlement, he's released a statement saying that he acknowledges that the complainant was a victim of abuse, and it's very important. Well, do you have any information, St. George? Well, I can tell you about St. George some other time, Alex English. Saying that the woman is a victim of abuse. Notably, the word sexual is absent from that. It could be an abuse of another nature. And it doesn't say that Prince Andrew abused her in any sense. It doesn't even acknowledge that he's ever met her. So in a way, that's actually relatively successful for him. Because say, well, she was abused by Jeffrey Epstein. But I believe that Jeffrey Epstein's conviction was in relation to somebody else, not this woman. Riding on a white horse and defeating a patron of Europe, yeah. Well, St. George is presumably Palestinian. Anyway, so back to Prince Andrew, and so there's a payout to the complainant herself and to charities nominated by her. So what's the other thing? Oh, Jason the Great, I know who you are, but I won't say your surname. We've met before. More work for me, please. Back to Prince Andrew and the payout. The sum has not been disclosed. There are rumours it's anywhere between 7 million and 12 million pounds. Now that's a tidy sum. If you were to get even half of that lower figure, that would be the makings of a decent weekend in Manhattan. But so why is the amount not being disclosed? Is it her because it's a paltry sum considering that the allegations involved, or is it him because it's so staggeringly high that they think, well, he must have done something, otherwise he wouldn't be paying such a huge amount of money. So he's able to buy her off. Is there a non-disclosure agreement? I'm not sure it's going to buy her silence. She can, of course, be selling her story to people. Maybe she's milked it already. I don't know if she's raked in millions from her sob story. Hey, every word of it might be true. I don't know. The only people who really know are Prince Andrew and Victoria Roberts, as she then was herself. But this civil suit being there, could there not be a criminal suit? We're saying, well, it's not actually being tested in court. There's going to be an over 50% chance that he's even paying this out. Anyway, the royal family will be breathing a very deep collective sigh of relief because it's going to cast a shadow over the Platinum Jubilee year, this being 70 years since Her Britannic Majesty ascended to the throne. And the last thing they needed was the prince being dragged through the New York courts, just weeks, maybe months of dreadful publicity. So if this can draw a line under it, that'd be great. The best thing for the royal family is if he's never seen again, never heard from again. If he dropped dead of a heart attack tonight, that will solve a lot of problems. Hey, I don't wish death on him, but in a completely amoral, cynical way, that would work best for the House of Windsor. I don't think they're going to be giving him a black Mercedes-Benz and a weekend in Paris to get rid of him. So have we heard the last of this saga? Well, just possibly. And where's the money coming from? He gets a £20,000 pension from the Royal Navy, and he's not been a working royal for about 2.5 years. So he's obviously saved lots of money. He sorted it away from his corrupt dealings with Kazakh tycoons. Might be selling his skiing chalet in Zermatt, Switzerland. And his mummy can give him a bung. There's £86 million in the civil list. About half of it goes to her, to other working royals. She can give him a bit more. So is some of it coming from the Queen's pocket? And therefore, ultimately, the taxpayer, probably it is, to spare the blushes of Prince Andrew. And apparently he was imbecilic enough to believe till not long ago that there was some way back. That his reputation hadn't suffered irreparable damage. No, reputationally he's finished. There's no way, I don't think he's going to be patron of a girl guiding organisation now. So that is the end of him. He's lucky to have escaped with his liberty. Well, thank you so much for tuning into my channel and sending me more requests. So please keep these donations coming to me on PayPal, georgecallahan79@gmail.com. All right, toodaloo, everyone.